one, fight! Finish him. Okay, and here we go.
The players woke up just in time for the countdown. Our fantastic arbiters out there doing some great work. E4 is the first move. A lot of king pawn openings today, it seems to be either these English Reti kind of hybrids or the Italian game. And again, it's this slow version. The black bishop just coming out to E7 is a mirror image. And will the boards break down this time? Okay, both sides getting castled. Firouzja developing his knight.
So at least stopping Magnus from getting that d5 break in. So a different Italian from what we saw. And again, a very typical idea that we've been seeing in this opening, where white starts pushing the a pawn to get some space on the queen side. You stop ideas of b5, you're also creating your own ideas of a5, a6, which right now Magnus says, I'm not allowing any of that. That pawn stops on a4. But now you give up a key b5 square for white's pieces to jump on.
Yeah, the white bishop can occupy that square, the white knight can occupy that square. In the meantime, Magnus just trying to curl up into a ball, be solid. He's going to put his rook on e8 next move. This is something we saw him employ in the Spanish opening, which is a bit of a cousin to the Italian. And yeah, black here doesn't have too many weaknesses. He just wants to survive. I shouldn't reveal this probably, but I'm going to. I had a chat with Magnus not that long ago, a while back, and he was like, the Italian game, I hate it. And I think it's positions like this, it's just tough to get excited in the early stages. But of course, plenty of play still ahead.
But that's really interesting what you say, right? Because all these top guys, they've studied Magnus so much. Do you think somewhere they're also aware that perhaps it's the Italian where Magnus feels most uncomfortable?
I think it's just in vogue right now, the Italian. Partly that they can guarantee a full fight against the likes of Magnus Carlsen without getting hit in the opening. There's a lot of margin for error here. But yeah, also the fact that Magnus, not a big fan.
James, who's getting the central break in first? Will we see d5 or d4?
Most likely d4, and the reason for this is because the bishop's on d7. So the d5 break, okay, it could happen, but it is weakening e5 a little bit because we can snatch the knight on c6 and take on e5. And yeah, there it is, d4 played before we could even finish our sentence here.
Okay, white occupies the center first. There's tension between the light squared bishops, but trading off on white's terms here for Magnus isn't necessarily desirable. White will take back and actually some pressure against the a5 pawn. And normally they do say whoever strikes first in the center has the advantage. I guess that's why you asked the question, Tanya. It's so important here. It doesn't look like much, but white now holds the key to take or not to take. Magnus does release the tension. I was going to say, if he does decide to go for this, highly risky. I'm assuming Firouzja will take back with his pawn. Yes, there's isolated pawns on the other side of the board, but it's all about the center there, whether white is able to generate some kind of kingside attack in the near future.
And that looks terrifying, right? You recapture with your pawn and then the e-pawn moving forward with a lot of tempos. The white knight's poised perfectly for a kingside attack. That bishop on c1 eyeing the h6 square as well. But Alireza with a different approach. He's eyeing the f5 square. He wants one of his knights to land on the prized point. And I think we're going to see that being played. pawn.
Firouzja under 1 minute, starting to panic here. He was about to reach for his rook. If he moves the rook though, Black's other rook jumps into the position with a devastating check. I think he was about to blunder Alireza Firouzja there. He might have to accept that he's going to give back some material in order to maintain his advantage. But Magnus is so active, he's played so well since the queens came off.
Incredible stuff. Is this going to be another miraculous save by Magnus?
3 results possible, right, James?
Yes, there's also stuff with like knight f5, like knight f5. You know, I'm always tactics sensitive, articulating. But knight f5, bishop takes c3, knight e7, king f8, rook check, king takes knight c6, king d6 or d7, knight takes d8, bishop
Did you see
f2,
that?
knight takes f7, and it's like drawn.
Yes, I love how you've calculated the entire draw, but Alireza down to 10 seconds. He needs to make a move.
He retreats his knight, but that knight is hit. He moves the knight away yet again, but now the white rook is dropping for the black bishop. This is anyone's game now. It's going to be material equality. 2 knights against a rook and a pawn. And, okay, the knights do look good right now. Never going to give you up.
Never gonna give you up.
Not sure who that's playing for, but neither side giving up. This has been a crazy battle.
That sounds like Magnus's playlist, if I had to take a guess.
Yep.
The positions he's had all tournament, he's saying never gonna give you up, and it just seems to work.
It looks like he will not be giving up. It looks like he should save this. Alireza down to a few seconds though. He grabs the pawn, he takes it with the rook. And now, even this type of position, if the 2 pawns disappear, even if Black were to blunder his rook, this is a draw. So right now, you must give away your black pawn to draw this game. But this should likely fizzle out. Look at that, Magnus just giving the pawn away. Firouzja not taking the black pawn. 2 knights against the king is a draw.
Yeah, Magnus just wants to give that up and then give up his rook for the e3 pawn, and there's no way. Look at this, a trick. Knight comes in, picks up the rook, but Magnus's king is fast enough to pick up the pawn, and in the end, not enough material. What an absolute roller coaster of a game. Ends peacefully with anything but peaceful this game.
Anything but peaceful. That was crazy, insane. We would love to see the accuracy on that game, and of course, that